This is Blasphemous Reviews. I am Jake.
I'm KJ.
And how would you survive an apocalypse? Have you watched me play Valheim at all?
I have not watched you like thoroughly. You're very what do you want to call it? Very descriptive and detail oriented with that. And so it's one of those games I personally would want to play myself. And it's
Yeah.
like, man, I don't want to watch this motherfucker explain this to me. And I'm sure other people love it and they also come there for conversation, but me personally, no. I haven't watched you play it. I watched a smidgen where you were working on a house, I believe. And
Yeah.
you were going and you were showing like the outside of the house, and then you were going to another place to pick up some shit.
Yeah.
That's what I remember from you playing that. But it looks really fucking cool.
It is very cool. I I'm in love. It's my new favorite game.
It's a good thing. It got you back into that drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Fucking.
it sucks when cuz you go through cycles of that when you play video games where it's just like you play it and then a lot of times you'll be like, I'm kind of bored with this.
Mm-hmm. I get
Um,
that.
which is
But
so
that's why I have so
different
many
from
games.
yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, you just like, well, I'm gonna buy a new one.
Or
So different than when we were a kid, though. We would play the same game like
over and over again.
nonstop, and we're totally fine with it.
I think it comes to being an adult. I don't know. I always think about this. I think about your mind now as an adult and what it was when I was a kid. And I think from not having like next to no stress about life really helped you just have that like okay repetitive state of mind. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
really think that like no worry in the world had you completely content with like repeatedly watching the same shit. I
right.
don't know if that's like this. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. There was just you had the ability to just get lost in something, no matter how monotonous or repetitive it was.
Right.
And I think that's why I've started to realize that survival games are my favorite genre of video games because
Mine too.
it takes me back to that time where it was just like you just do you're just like, well, I have a task. You can decide whatever task you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, all right, well, this is going to be my task, and you can do it, and you just do it however you want, take as long as you want, and it feels good, you know.
It does.
And at the
And the
end, you're
accomplishment
rewarded.
is so much sweeter.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. You
It's so
feel,
much fucking sweeter.
even if it's just like, I'm gonna plant a garden today, or like whatever it is, like, you decide something that's totally like insequential to, or not insequential,
Would it be?
um, in unconsequential,
Okay.
something like that. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
where it doesn't really affect the overall progression of the game itself necessarily, but it's just something to do, and you do it. You Um, so yeah, that's I mean that's I initially I think my initial exposure to a like open world survival game was Conan
Mm-hmm.
Exiles.
That was like your first like breach into the world.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
there's other games I'd played before, like Dying Light is, I would
Mm-hmm.
say, is like a survival game, but um it's more of like a zombie survival with a story, so it's like it's less free form
Mm-hmm.
than some of these other like open world survival games like Valheim or like Conan Exiles, where like there's a goal, but like you don't even have to reach that goal to have fun, or you could take as long as you want to reach that goal.
I think it's also just getting lost into the gameplay. And I think that's where you were talking about earlier about the garden. And I think it's just where you have that pure control of everything. It's like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
controlling a world, you know what I mean? And it's your fingers, your god in a sense. And I think that's really cool because one of the games that does that for me is Stardew.
yeah.
Not necessarily a survival, but in a sense it is because you do
Kinda,
have to
yeah.
go into the mines and fight off, some crazy looking shit.
I mean, you gotta
But
eat and sleep, right? And like
you do.
you start
That's
out with
fair.
nothing, essentially,
Yeah,
right?
and like next to no energy. It's like you go from fat to strong in a sense because you gain more energy throughout the game and more health.
Right, yeah.
So it's like you start, you work every day in the garden and you handle yourself in the mines and you go fishing. You're only getting stronger each and every day. So
Right.
it's kind of like it shows me too, in a sense, with like all of these games, just a little bit of repetition can really change your atmosphere,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's even in fucking personal life.
And like that's why I appreciate Stardew. Though I haven't
Hmm.
played it. I appreciate Stardew because we're talking about Stardew Valley, sorry. I appreciate it because it still falls into that realm of the survival, but it's not the typical survival. It's more of like an RPG survival where like, you know, there's more role play aspects to it than there is like raw survival like you would get in some other games, but um it creates its own pocket, its own little niche. Um
Very much so.
yeah, yeah,
It's
so I
it,
like that.
it's one of my favorites. I mean, for a survival, like you said, and it's one of those ones. It's where you collect stuff too, and I think it's
Yeah.
where it gets aesthetically pleasing at some point when you start seeing shit fill up, and where you know that you can always change. I don't know whether the decor of your house, or if you want to get a divorce, or if you want to wash somebody's mind away because they hate you now because of said divorce, or your kids can turn into bats if you talk to the wizard, or they turn into birds. I think, if I'm pretty sure. I
See, I
haven't done it
didn't
yet.
that's
Like I'm 300 hours into the fucking game probably. I'll have to look, but like 300 hours gameplay time, and I'm not even finished with the fucking game. I'm sure people can beat it, speed through, and all that shit, but like the way I take it day to day, there's so much shit you can do in
yeah,
that
yeah.
world.
Yeah.
So it's like you make the choices that you make, and like this is the closest I've gotten to beating the game. And I had to reset it at one time, unfortunately, and then I reset it a second time just because I didn't like what I was doing, and I learned something else. So now what I do with this gameplay that I'm playing so much of right now is I make sure that whatever consequences or I take every consequence as they come. I just make the choice and I call it a day. Like I
Right, yeah.
don't reset it because if I did,
Then you're gonna be yeah,
I would
you
never finish
reset
the fucking game.
yeah. And
So,
and Conan's one of those where I've made like three separate characters each
mhm.
time, um learning how to do level up and get stuff more efficiently.
Right. And that was the game that you actually brought me onto as well, was Conan. You had me play it on PlayStation with you. I think we played it like once or twice, but I just knew it wasn't my fucking game. And it's not going to be for everybody,
Yeah.
obviously, but I just remember walking into that game. I thought it was pretty cool. You had to like structure a house immediately or some kind of like shelter, and you had to get a weapon or something along those lines. Anyways, I remember immediately I'm getting fucking just destroyed by something. I don't remember what it was. It's obviously an NPC, but it was just beating the shit out of me. And coming off of like an open world survival like Stardew, and then going right into something like that where you're
Yeah.
just immediately attacked, it's not fucking like normal. So I did not care for the game at all. If I'm playing an
Conan is very harsh.
yes,
It's a hard world.
I can believe it. Just from the 5 minutes or hour and a half that we played together, you know, fuck that game. Not for me. It's just not for me. But it's actually really cool. I've seen people do a lot of crazy shit on that game and end up building a house. I think that you can ride a pterodactyl or some shit. Is that a part of that
No.
game? Or
You're
is that
thinking
Ark?
that's Ark.
Okay.
I've
I'm
played
thinking
Ark
Ark.
before
Hmm.
and that was not my game. I don't
That was
like
not.
I don't like riding dinosaurs and shit. That's just
I don't know. I think that's pretty gnarly. I've
I'm
never
cool on
given that
that.
game a chance. I've only seen watch play, but
I don't
I would
like
be
the
down.
art style of that game.
Yeah.
Um and it just I played it and it didn't appeal to me.
So was it the graphics that turned you off? Because I think that does it for me for a game as well sometimes.
The graphics slash like art style, the
Hmm.
way that like people look and the way that the building pieces and
Hmm.
everything look,
Right.
it just looked to me, right?
I get
And
that.
I like Conan because I like the lore and
Hmm.
the like what Conan is about. I
Okay.
mean, you get a lot of different like fantasy type lore built into it in
Hmm.
Conan, where like there's like werewolves or like uh trolls or not, yeah, like troll or a giant.
What's that giant called with the one eye? I'm trying to think of his name. You know what I'm talking about? There's a specific name for that dude. He's got one fucking eye. He's always got like three teeth type shit, and he's always got like a bludgeon wooden like fucking bat.
Why am I?
I'm trying to think of his fucking name. Gosh damn it. I feel like that's a part of the lore that you're talking about. I do.
I think you're right, but
But
honestly,
anyways,
my mind is drawing a blank on it.
yeah, mine too. But Conan, I think that would excite me to play that game. If I was to get into that game and, enjoy the lore, it's just the aggression just immediately that turns me off on the game. I just
It's
it's
yeah,
it's like if you want me to play that game, I'm about it, but let me like build up a level 5 type shit and then start dealing with like enemies and stuff like that and getting the general basics down of the game. Like I love games where you just jump right in and you have next to no directions. That's kind of like what Stardew Valley was for me. But it's like, let me learn on my own, but don't just like sit there and let me just get bludgeoned to death every fucking time I play and then have to rush to go find some kind of fucking weapon immediately. You know, I don't like that shit. But when it comes to the lore, I love that shit. And that's the
right,
shit that would excite the fuck out of me to play that game. And
yeah.
I don't know. I just wish for a different version of Conan because
Well,
like it's
that's
fucking sweet
why I love Valheim.
because that's basically that.
It's got great lore to it because
Hmm.
it's Viking themed, right? But
Right.
it's also like fantasy Viking themed. So there's different different creatures and stuff that are still fantasy based, but they tie into the Viking theme very well.
Hmm. I would love that. That
But
means
it's not.
writers took their
It's like
time.
it's similar into Conan in the sense that like you're gonna have enemies everywhere, but you're not gonna just. It's not gonna be like a constant like. It's not a constant fight to survive from enemies. Now, I will say I've discovered that I've placed my house next to a spawn point of a group of enemies.
Hmm.
So for me, I kind of fucked up and have
Oh, most definitely.
yeah, like if I play for like a couple hours, every like 20 whenever the respawn, which is probably like 30 minutes or so, but um I'll have to fight off a couple of them.
See, yeah.
So,
I mean,
but I mean
that
it's honestly really easy. And like it's not like it'll get intense, but not like
overbearingly intense.
yeah, like very
Okay.
manageable. And
Hmm.
at the same time it's fun because of the way that the combat is set up, but it's not raw like hard combat like Conan is or other games. It's like
Hmm.
pretty simple which leads to you being able to like approach things differently. Whereas
See, I like that where you have to like make multiple choices in a sense.
like in Conan, like it was always like, well, there's one obvious way to defeat, whatever enemy it is, and like
Hmm.
if you don't do it that way, then you're gonna have a hard time. Whereas in this,
Right.
it's like you have viable options. You
To
know,
take the enemy
I
down.
mean, enemies are weak to certain things, but at the same
Hmm.
time, you know,
It's the way that you approach it in a
it's a little
sense, right?
flexibility. Yeah.
Okay.
So
See, I
I think a
yeah,
game you would absolutely hate is DayZ. Right.
probably. I've
Let
heard
me
of it.
let me
Isn't it like a
break
zombie?
down. Yes, it's zombie.
Is,
Let me break down the first opening. You load up the game. You enter a server.
hmm.
You spawn on the beach. Right. You don't have any clothes. You are like, all right. Well, I have a temperature gauge, a water gauge, a food gauge.
So
Um,
you're telling me you just spawn, you're butt fucking naked, and you have just a water gauge and a food gauge and all this shit?
yeah, you
Or no,
got
oh, the food gauge is like your life and all that
yeah,
other
yeah,
shit?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha.
And then a blood gauge as well.
Okay.
So you're on the beach, right? If you haven't read anything about it,
You're fucked,
then
probably.
then you don't know. You just don't know where you are. There's no map. You can't like open up a map. Um, you could find a road sign nearby.
Hmm.
But it's in
And then,
Russian.
oh, okay.
um,
I guess I'll call it my Russian friend, Valdheim.
and then and then you just
Valdemir. There it
yeah,
is.
Vladimir.
Vladimir? I don't
Yeah.
know. I said Valheim. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And yeah, so you got to find food and stuff. But you got to be
Hmm.
careful because some food could be rotten. It get you sick.
Okay.
Um,
I like the idea of this game. So where is the fuckery coming into play?
well, there's zombies everywhere. They're
Okay.
very easy to avoid. But you also start out bare feet. So if you run too much, you'll get
Start
cuts
destroying your
on your
feet.
feet
Hmm.
and you'll start losing blood. Um, you have to drink water. You have to find a water source, which are going to be like wells in towns.
This sounds like too much work. All within like one
But
game because
you
it's
can,
probably what's going to happen. You're going to die in like 15 fucking minutes. It's not
so
even going to take
the
long for you
first
to
time I
fucking
loaded
get
the
die.
game up, I died probably like 5 or 6 times
Hmm.
before I even like was
Figured something
able.
out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. See, no thanks.
So what
I
I
don't
do
think.
is when I play, I open up a map on online on my second monitor. And if I'm starting a new character, I load up and then I run to the nearest road and run down the road until I find a road sign. And then I correspond whatever the fuck that says on the road sign in Russian to whatever the fuck it says on the map and find where I'm at and then try to find because it's in like an interactive map, so it'll show you where like wells are and like you know police
I might be into
stations.
that if I had like the map guide like next to me type shit.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be interesting to
It's
play.
the harshest survival game I've ever played, but
Dying Light was pretty cool. I played that a little bit with our friend Justin. That was a pretty decent game. I actually enjoyed that. A little
Dying
too
Light's fun.
complicated for me. It's a
Really?
little too complicated. Yeah, just because, like, I don't know. It was just, okay, I wouldn't say it's complicated. I would just say learning all of everything was complicated and just kind of getting the hang of that game. It's one of those games where you can't just, like, pick it up for like 3 hours, understand it, and then put it down for like 2 weeks and then pick it back up again. It's not one of those. You have to play that constantly a little while. So that all becomes muscle memory, kind of like any video game that you play.
Yeah, I
But
don't I don't think you would enjoy Daisy because so if you find a gun,
Mm-hmm.
you also got to find bullets for it, right? But
So fucking stupid.
you also have to
Kind
find
of.
magazines for it.
Okay. Wait, whoa. You have to find bullets in the magazines?
Yes. And then
Fuck that game,
you
dude.
have to
Bullets are
load
cool.
the bullets into the magazine and then load the magazine into the gun.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Fuck that game. That sounds no fun. Sounds like no fun to me.
it's like not fun and and fun. It's fun because of how unfun it is.
Oh, okay. Can you play with friends, or are you like, is it just a
Yeah,
one
yeah.
online?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that would make it fun for me. Is like if I
You
had somebody
eventually
that
can
was
like
experienced,
build
right,
stuff, but like
build a life in a sense.
yeah.
If it actually you got that serious with it.
And Daisy is really harsh PvP, so like you better have a microphone
Hmm.
because somebody's gonna run up to you and ask you something, and if you don't respond, they'll probably just kill you on the spot.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, I'm good.
And
I'm good.
sometimes they'll like ask you for food, and then you'll go to get food out to them, and
Hmm.
then they'll just kill you while you're doing
Bro,
that.
I'm not giving up my fucking food.
Or like you'll like they'll be like, hey, like where are you heading? Like, oh, this way, and they're like, all right, cool, I'm heading that way too. Let's run together, and then you guys go run together, and you spend 20 minutes, talking to this guy and running there, and then you turn around and he shoots you in the back of the head and steals all your shit.
Okay, yeah. See, I felt like I was gonna find a friend while you were talking to me. I thought we were gonna find a friend. We had life together. We were gonna hang out, and then nah, he's just like, you know what? I'm gonna tell you this life story, and then I'm just gonna blow your fucking brains out. I'm good. I'm good.
It's very harsh. It's like very harsh, but it's fun. But
Well, let's rate these games, man.
all
One to
right,
10. Let's start with Valheim. What would you give Valheim from a 1 to 10 rating for an open world survival video game?
9.
9. Solid 9.
And reasoning, um, it is still an early access game.
So it will only get better with time. Kind of like a fine
Yes, I
wine.
really think it's
Okay.
gonna be a 10 out of 10 game.
Okay. Fuck yeah. I give it a NA.
Yes,
N
non
slash
non
A.
applicable,
Right.
not applicable.
Because I have
Whatever
not
it is.
played
I
it
don't know.
and I've seen maybe a smidgen of fucking gameplay. So
True. All right,
what's the next one?
Conan.
Fucking 0 out of 10. Fuck that game. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I'll give it a 1 out of 10
All right, fair.
because of lore.
There you go.
That's it. Other than
Um,
that, fuck that game.
7
Okay.
because the lore is great, the world's great, the amount of content is great. The customizable of your character is great, but the combat sucks. Um,
What else does that lack?
it lacks creativity in building. Now, building is pretty. There's a lot of content in the building,
Mm-hmm.
but the the system itself is not great, and that is a huge minus for me because I love building. So,
I do too.
um,
That's why I enjoy
like there's a
in
lot of
Stardew.
different types of stuff you can build,
Mm-hmm.
but again, the system, like you're stuck to a very rudimentary system of just squares and triangles. Um, and that's it.
No, gotcha.
So
100%.
yeah, yeah.
So, Stardew Valley. I will rate that a fucking 11 out of 10. I give that because it's one of the games that I discovered from a favorite podcaster of mine, Ethan Klein, and a favorite comedian, Bobby Lee. They were doing a podcast together. They were talking about said game. made me pick it up, and ever since then I've been in love. I've logged at least 300 hours of gameplay on it within the last 2 years, and I
Yeah.
will treasure that game for the rest of my life. I've bought it on probably 4 different platforms as well. I have it on the Nintendo Switch, I have it on the PlayStation 4, I have it on my cell phone, I have it on my computer, on Steam, and I think I used to have it on my Xbox. So, yeah, like I fucking love that game. I've also got a beautiful decor of Stardew Valley shit that I bought, and I have a guidebook. Like that game's my life. It got me out of depression too many times to count. I fucking love it. 11 out of 10.
Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Um,
DayZ. Is that what you're gonna say? I'm sorry.
yeah.
It was supposed to be you.
I would rate that also a 7.
Okay.
The sheer
Why is
rawness
that?
of it is
Mm-hmm.
both a good thing and a bad thing.
Okay, so it's entertaining to you, but it's
Yeah.
also just a pain in the fucking ass.
Yes.
Okay.
And the scope of the map and the level of detail to the um like status systems, like health
There we go.
and like health and water and food and blood. Like you have a blood type. Your character has a blood type.
Right.
And you have to find
That
a
type of blood.
a blood type test out of thing to find out what kind of blood you are.
Oh wow.
And
That
then you
fuck that
can
game.
then you can find that kind of blood and use that for like blood transfusions and like stuff like that.
Okay.
So like the level of detail and stuff like that is awesome, but there's just a lot of like buggy weirdness and like
That could be fixed.
yeah. But it's been
Gotcha.
out for like 8 years, so I don't think it's gonna get much better.
They're not fixing shit.
Yeah.
um so
Dying
Dying
Light?
Light. Yeah. I'll give that. Oh, well actually for DayZ for me, it's also an N/A.
Yes.
But Dying Light I will give a 4 out of 10.
All right.
I I enjoyed Dying Light very much. I liked, in a sense, the complexity of what it was, from what you could carry in your backpack to the driving. Um, Very wonderful game. I think it was laid out pretty well to play with friends, and I think that they're probably still working on it. I don't know. It came out in what, 2016, 2017? Dying Light did.
20 originally came out in like 2014, I think.
Oh, really?
Then they did a remaster,
Okay,
and
so they've
they're
probably been
working
fixing that
on
shit
number
up.
2 that's coming out I think this year.
I would probably look more forward to a number 2. So I might fuck with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 out of
So a
10 could
4
fix
out
a
of
lot of
10.
things. Yeah, could fix the driving a lot. Could fix I don't know, just odd little ins and outs that I probably remember. Don't remember nearly as much now, but I remember one of the things was the walking and the hiding was a pain in the ass. So, but a great game overall.
All right. I would give I'd give that an 8.
Okay.
The reason because when I played it, I had a lot of fun playing it, and I loved the crafting of weapons and stuff like that. I think that was really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that stands out to me the most is the movement, the ability to like parkour and like free run and then the physics of
The
actually
parkour was actually really good in that fucking game, dude. It
it
really
fucking was
was.
lit. It was so
I was
lit.
completely. That was some Assassin's Creed / Prince of Persia type shit, dude.
Yeah, and that honestly just takes the fun like up a whole to a whole new level. Like
Yeah.
so that in combination with zombies was phenomenal. Just like I
Then
just
you
like
could
run up a
parkour and get
wall and
away.
then jump off and then like you know slam a zombie's head with a bat full of nails or something. Like it's good shit. It's
Was
quality fun.
Yeah.
And
Good quality,
the story was
wholesome
decent
family
too.
fun.
So
It was.
And
Wasn't it when you
and
started in like a building or some shit, like up on top with like some
yeah,
group of people?
and I mean, I played the DLC as well. The DLC was a lot of
Oh
fun.
wow.
So
Okay. And what would you say you give that an 8 out of 10?
8 out of 10.
So that's for open world survival. Video games. Fuck yes. I just love video games, period. So all of those, they all have a little, what do you want to call it? Little star, little speck in my heart. Even though the ones I don't know. They have a little speck in my heart. Because
Yeah,
somebody enjoys them. I'm sure if I watch somebody play fucking Valheim actually or DayZ, I'm sure somebody that's really well experienced in that game, it'd be entertaining as fuck to watch.
right,
Isn't that
right.
what the kids do is watch people play video games?
Yeah, yep. It's
I'm throwing
that's
you a bone, dog. Throw that tag out.
what up, y'all? Perpetual drips. I stream on Facebook like 4 nights a week. Come hang out. I'm playing Valheim currently. It's a lot of fun.
There we go.
Thanks.
You're welcome, buddy.
I appreciate it.
Oh,
Speaking of surviving, we're going to talk about what we would do in apocalypse situations. We're going to talk about some apocalyptic slash survival movies. And
yes.
we're also going to talk about what we would do if we were stuck on a deserted island. Where do you want to go with that?
I think we should start with probably the movies. I feel like the
All right.
Deserted Island and the Apocalypse, those are like fucking meaty, bro. You don't want to give that right
Meaty.
in the middle. So let's start with the first movie though, and we're gonna rate these as well, just kind of like we did with the video games. Because at Blasphemous Reviews, we're not blasphemous without a review.
Okay.
I guess. Oh my god.
We'll take it.
We'll accept that answer. I
I
am
award
Legend.
you no points
Right? And
and
God
make
have mercy on your soul. Oh shit. But I am Legend. We'll start with that one. Post-apocalyptic, I'm sure you've seen it. If not, fucking spoilers. And that goes for all of these movies. We're going to talk a little bit about these movies, so it's all going to be semi-spoilers.
I Am Legend ruined a Bob Marley song for me.
Oh man. You actually just brought a thought into my head that I did not want to bring back. Yes,
I
it ruined
only
the fuck out of Three Little Birds.
I only think of I Am Legend when I hear that song.
Such a good
And
song too.
the one where it's like it like kind of echoes, you know? Oh, it's so
Hmm.
creepy. How can you
I
make a
remember that.
Bob Marley song creepy?
Make it
Like,
sad, bro. Make it fucking sad.
God.
But great movie overall. I thought it was pretty fucking cool. What's crazy, I don't remember when that movie came out, but the apocalypse happened in that movie because I believe it was like they were trying to cure cancer and then it turned them into like some fucking night walking looking motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Well, the year that movie was set was 2021. And we have a vaccine
Really
right now going on for
nice.
COVID.
Lit.
Right?
So lit. So
Oh
did you
shit.
know that I Am Legend's based off of books?
Yes. Was it a graphic novel or was it just a book? I think it was a book
And then
because
I think they
if I'm
made
not
graphic novels
mistaken,
out of it.
they probably did. But if I'm remembering correctly, when I was very obsessed with that movie, I think the writer of the book, I think Will Smith's character in I Am Legend was actually an alcoholic, and that was a big part of like his character. And I know they did not put that in I Am Legend
There's a lot that I guess is very different.
from the novel. Oh, I'm sure. I'm very
I
sure.
heard that. No, I don't know this for a fact, but I heard that. I heard that the zombies were like hybrids, and they had like their own city and like a hierarchy of like, like a social hierarchy, and
Hmm.
they were like actually sophisticated and organized.
That's fucking cool, and that would be a
Yeah,
problem.
right.
That would be a problem.
I think
We'd all
they
die.
tried to play on that idea with the one
The
being,
leading dude that had his
yeah,
lady.
yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, but it was way more like sophisticated than in the in the book than it is in that.
Yeah, because if you remember, he made the trap for him too.
Right. Yeah.
Because like he in the beginning of that movie, he made the trap to get one so he could study on it and shit. Fucking um,
And then they
that
set a
monster took
trap for
from that
him.
shit and yeah, set a trap for his ass. And it's like it blew my fucking mind how that
No,
works.
no.
Like, and you really thought, like,
What are you
this
doing over
motherfucker's
there?
right. This motherfucker's crazy, and he was just destroying it. And that's what I think. What makes Will Smith such a defined actor is that scene. That one of that. That's a prominent scene right there because he's losing his shit over a mannequin, and like, I don't think you can really just like that's. I don't know, man. I think there's only so many people that can make that shit so serious and so powerful. And
My
like, it's
man
either
is legit.
he is. It's either you think he's losing his fucking mind when you're watching that scene, or it's like, wait a minute, why the fuck is this mannequin up here right now? What the fuck is going on?
What is this?
So, really, just I don't know, all around great fucking movie, except for when they killed his dog. When he killed his dog, that shit was fucked, fucked.
Yes. Yeah.
But great movie
Sad.
overall. Sad part that I just threw out. But going on to the next movie, The Matrix. Post-apocalyptic. Had no idea till we kind of looked this and researched this up. I didn't really think of it as a post-apocalyptic movie. So that was kind of an eye-opener because
You
if
didn't?
you know us or you've been watching our episodes, we did a Blasphemous review on The Matrix. So finding out that it was post-apocalyptic kind of blew my mind. What about you, man?
You didn't know it was
You
post-apocalyptic?
No, I did not. I had no idea, or at least it never came to mind. And I never thought that it'd be a post apocalyptic movie. Now, looking back at it and thinking about the movie, 100% post apocalyptic for sure. But it just blew my mind that I never put two and two together until we decided to start talking about this episode. You know,
Um. Yeah. It's funny. Um. I mean, yeah. It's the whole kit and caboodle of the whole thing is, set into a future where um the Earth was basically, humans were wiped out because they decided that they were going to block the sun so that it would starve the robots or the machines from an energy source. But the machines just turned them into energy sources.
right.
And but yeah, so it all began with, you know, the machines rising and the humans wanting to destroy them. And so in essence they destroyed their own world to do so, and it didn't work. Um
Such a, such
wild shit.
such a crazy movie. And going into that, just thinking of the simplicity of it or the simplicity that you see visually in the movie without taking any of the context clues or the deep context of the movie, it's just a fucking wonderful movie. Neo kicking ass straight the fuck up, 100%. Keanu Reeves plays Neo. You got Morpheus, which is Lawrence Fishburne. I mean, I could go on. I don't remember all of them, but I remember a good amount. I don't quiz me, motherfucker. But anyways, my point is, it's one of the greatest fucking movies I have ever seen in my life. From the woman in the red dress to fucking him trying to learn how to jump from building to building, from meeting fucking God, what is her name? I can't even think of it right now.
Trinity.
The Oracle. No, the Oracle. Him meeting the Oracle the first time, from him breaking that vase. Her saying, "Don't worry about it. Oh, what? Boom! Knocks that shit over. It was just, it's one of those movies where it's just scene for scene, pound for pound, punch for fucking punch. That movie is just so fucking amazing. And then just the opening scene of that fucking movie, dude. Trinity fucking just in some building working on some shit. Cops come in. She slays every one of them fucking cops. So fucking cool. And then the one part that I remember that gets me every time is just that part in the beginning where Trinity flies through that fucking building. She rolls down the steps and she whips out two little fucking guns. And they're pretty tiny, if I remember. I don't know why they were so small. They weren't
Uh,
small guns?
no.
Okay, maybe it's just me. I don't know. But anyways, so she pulls out those two fucking guns, and I just remember her saying, just Trinity, get up, and then fucking, zooms and tries to get fucking free, which he does. But it's such, every scene of that movie is iconic. I'm even thinking now about when Keanu was in the helicopter and he's fucking destroying dudes with a minigun, just fucking like crazy. And then Morpheus running to him, he's not gonna make it. Fucking jumps, fucking catches him. Oh my god, movie's the shit.
Yeah.
We can go on to the next movie. I'm sorry, I'm excited. That's a good fucking movie.
Yeah, every scene.
How do you feel about the movie? I'm sorry.
I mean, every scene, every line, every shot was very deliberate, and that's why I think it's a masterpiece. Is because like there's nothing about it that wasn't intentional, and there's so much to take in.
Mm-hmm.
But once you do, it's beautiful. It's a
100%.
beautiful story about some terrible shit.
100%. So the next movie,
10 out of 10.
we're not rating yet, bro. We rate at the end.
Okay.
But we'll hold on to your rating. We'll hold on to your rating. Terminator. I don't remember anything about Terminator. I remember T2 very well because I think I watched that one more than I ever watched any of the other Terminator movies.
Word.
But I love fucking T2 with everything. I think that is one of the coolest fucking movies ever. If I'm not mistaken, that's the one where the cop is like a piece of fucking silver. He is played by Robert Patrick. What is so cool about the training of that movie, if you go and watch that movie, so he is considered a robot. Well, I guess in this world or in a world where we're talking about robots don't blink. Okay. So, or the machine doesn't blink, if you will. So, what he did to train for that is if you watch anybody shoot a gun, they always blink. Okay. They always blink when they fire a gun because in a sense, it's supposed to be a surprise. Well, if you go and look at a scene where he's shooting Arnold, Homeboy does not blink one time. He trained himself to shoot a gun without blinking. It is fucking gnarly, dude.
That's cool.
And then another cool ass thing that he did was, if you remember the scene, do you remember T2 at all?
I barely remember.
Okay, well, there was a scene where they were trying to chase the little boy, I can't remember his name, and Arnold out of the mall. So they're in the fucking garage, and he's trying to chase them. And what he did to train for this, to run super fucking fast, he held his breath while he was running. He wasn't breathing in and out. He held that shit, and he was just dipping. Like, he was a fucking machine, bro. He was a powerhouse. Robert Patrick's a fucking OG.
So
bro.
he held his breath so it would
and
seem
was
like
just
he's not breathing.
Yeah, I guess it's so he couldn't look like he was breathing, or that air doesn't, like, since he was a machine, he doesn't need air, so he wanted to look like he could be fast without any air. And isn't that fucking gnarly? Like, fuck, man.
That's
So
T2.
T2 is one of my favorite of those movies. Now, do you remember any of the Terminator movies?
Mm-mm.
No. Have you watched any of them?
Yeah.
Okay. They're just not memorable in your book then for
No.
post-apocalyptic world. That's fair. T2 would probably be the only one that's really in my book. They did too much follow-up shit with them movies. I watched the most recent one, which I think was Terminator Salvation, and it brought Arnold back, and it brought fucking the crazy lady back from T2.
Yeah.
But The son wasn't there, which made no sense. And they made a story about it, which was stupid. I think they Terminator ended up killing him years later. But then he settled down and had like a family and shit, which was fucking weird. But they didn't know he was a robot. Such a weird fucking movie. It was something
Huh.
else. Yeah, you'll have to watch, bro, if you want to see it. It's probably if you go and want to watch another Terminator movie, watch the most recent one with Arnold in it, and it was actually not that bad. So, but going on from Terminator, we're gonna go to Castaway.
Okay.
I fucking love Castaway. I thought that was a great movie, just in and out. How you could literally watch a movie for an hour and a half to 2 hours with minimal to no dialogue. You know, I just remember this one part. The air caught to it. Do you know what I'm talking about? He
Yeah.
was building a fucking fire and like it goes out and like he has Wilson next to him and he just looks at him. The air caught to it. Just,
That's another
but
one that's just, as far as acting goes,
oh,
really takes
Prime,
some.
fucking Prime. He goes down as a great man. He should be one of the greats for sure. Like Tom Hanks is an OG in everything he fucking plays. I
OG,
love him
triple
in
OG.
bro. I love him in every fucking movie that I've seen with him in it, and I've seen the
True.
majority of his flicks. I love that dude.
Yeah. He's definitely really good.
But yeah, Castaway is a whole nother level movie. That's why it hasn't been duplicated. It hasn't been remade
You can't
because that's what
remake
Hollywood's about.
Castaway.
That's what Hollywood's about is remaking movies. But I feel that um, that is one you cannot duplicate or remake. It's just not going to happen. And if you've never seen it, I highly suggest you go see it. The fucking, I don't know, the way they do that movie, it's so well written from him being some kind of exec with, the United States Postal Service and then crashing on this fucking plane next to this deserted island. And he has minimal shit. And like they were carrying packages on the plane that he was on. And these packages wash ashore and he tries to use the majority of them. And the shit that he finds and he uses is fucking amazing. Like, for example, he tries to make a boat out of like, so this movie's old. So this gives you an example. He tried to make like rope in a sense for his boat out of VHS film reel. Which, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like he did that. I mean, it was just, I don't know, man. The movie's just well fucking written. It's yeah. I got no more to say. Oh
Yeah.
fuck! All around great fucking movie.
Yeah. Castaway, I haven't seen that in a long time, but I would still say it's one of the best films around.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For
In the
sure.
in the top hundo, top 50 even.
Oh, dude, I would love for us to do that kind of podcast. Side note, you know what I mean? Like a
Like a
top
top.
50 of all time type shit. We write our own list. Whew, be
Oh,
good. Let us know if you want to hear that.
I'd be down.
But going on to the next movie, The Book of Eli. I haven't watched this in some years, but it is one of the greatest fucking movies. And if you don't catch it, like first time you watch it and you don't catch that he was blind the entire movie, like you're not gonna know the subtle notes. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't show it at fucking all. And one of the key things that he said that's actually kind of a trigger for that, knowing that he was blind, was he said in the beginning of the movie to the girl, I think it was Mila Kunis who played the girl, but he said, "Walk by faith, not by sight." And it was one of the coolest things. And if somebody doesn't know that movie, long story short, he has the last Bible that's in this post-apocalyptic world, and he's trying to get it to, I believe it was Alcatraz,
Yep.
where it was like a safe haven or some shit to live, and they were going to reprint the Bible. So it was one of the coolest things because the flip at the end it was a fucking Braille Bible, and he would be the only one to read it because he said blind. But what was even cooler about the flip of that movie at the end was that motherfucker memorized the entire Bible. cover to cover.
Yeah.
That was the coolest part because he got into a battle with a guy and he wanted the Bible because it was because basically in a post-apocalyptic world and there only being one Bible, you can basically turn into God. You know what I mean? You can fucking have people praise you in a sense, worship you, with you knowing that word, that scripture. And I think that's what the dude was trying to have was the power of that book so he could persuade people. But he, got flip tricked in the end and ended up having a Braille Bible. And it was one of just the coolest fucking movies in the last few years that I've seen. And Denzel, another one. God, we're just going down the
Yeah,
fucking
true.
line of greats, bro. Den's
True.
fucking Mr. Washington. God damn.
What's
Every fucking movie
what's like if you off the top of your head, what's one of the most recent movies he's been in?
that he's been in, it was that HBO one that I watched recently that had
You were
Rami
talking
Malek in
about
it.
this.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called at the moment. Oh shit. The Little Things. That's what it's
Okay.
called. The Little Things with and it was subpar. It wasn't great. I felt like it was a PG version of Seven.
Okay.
If you remember that movie, I
A
felt like it was a
PG
PG
version?
of yeah, of Seven.
Was it actually rated PG?
No, it was rated R.
Okay.
It was rated R. But it was not a bad movie. I love Denzel. Period. I think Training Day will go down as one of my all-time favorites with him in it. It's just the
Yeah,
famous King Kong ain't got nothing on me. You know what I mean? Like that movie goes so fucking hard,
it
so
does though.
good.
Who else is
So
that? Ethan Hawke? Is that who that is?
Ethan Hawke, and yeah, give that motherfucker praise too, dude. He is
He's
such a
good.
great actor. He's such a great actor, and he was great in that movie. But yeah, I love Denzel. But yeah, going back on the Book of Eli, it's a great fucking movie. Haven't seen it in some time though, but I do remember it very well. What about
Yeah.
you? Have you seen
Um.
that movie?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure.
Okay.
It's yeah. And actually, my one of my favorite things about that movie is the soundtrack. The soundtrack was made by Danny Elfman, who like Danny Elfman does
I think
soundtracks
that
for,
motherfucker does everybody's
you know
soundtrack.
what I mean? But
Yeah.
specifically, the soundtrack for that was so great. They were like,
Mm.
it landed itself to the story phenomenally, and just like added the right
Power.
amount at the right times.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bunch of times in that movie that I just got chills, and like
Oh, for sure.
one due to the story in the
Mm.
movie itself, but also the soundtrack plays a pretty big part in that. I think so.
I think soundtracks play a big part in every movie. I
Oh,
think
I
if you have
mean,
a powerful like if you have a powerful soundtrack or a score, if you will, like
you can
that
take a
can make.
mediocre movie into a great movie.
Yep. Like for example, and I'm not going to say this is a mediocre movie because it's not in any way, shape, or form. And this is just a side movie, which is Whiplash. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's about a young man he goes to this very prestige drumming school and he has a very abusive teacher, mentally, physically kind of abusive teacher.
Hmm.
And the ropes that he goes through up and down and like the life and the spiral of the movie, it's great. If you haven't seen it, Jake, and if you haven't seen it, listener, please give it a watch. It's fucking wonderful. J.K. Simmons is a fucking tour de force in that fucking movie. I love it so much.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons is great too, man.
Dude, I think it all started with Juno. That's what flipped his fucking career around. I don't know. I could be wrong because he was J. Jonah Jameson before he was fucking Juno.
Yes, he
Juno's dad
was.
type shit. So, and before that, I don't even know because I was a kid, so I wasn't following actors the way I do now. So,
Right, yeah.
but going on to a couple lighter movies, a couple lighter post-apocalyptics post-apocalyptic movies. Fuck that I
Words.
enjoy. Right, big words. That I enjoy
Words.
with Zombieland. Let's just start with that one.
Oh, yeah.
I love that movie because I enjoy any movie that breaks the fourth wall and does it very well. And that's one of those movies that does that. And not only that, with the rules and the fun they were having with the rules and and the CGI with that, and Woody
Woody
Harrelson. Just
fucking
oh my
Harrelson,
god,
bro.
it's a day of fucking actors today, dude. But yes, that
Woody
guy.
fucking Harrelson, dude.
He's an OG. He Tour de Force as well. All these fucking actors today, Tour de Forces, man.
OG,
Every one of
triple
them.
OG.
But yeah, so that was a really good fucking movie. I think that shows Woody Harrelson's comedic side. Not that you haven't seen it before in films, but yeah, it's just fucking great. And the story is really cool. How they keep getting fucked over, and they're all just trying to live life in this crazy fucking apocalypse. It's such a neat perspective on one, zombies, and two, just an apocalyptic movie. You don't have it all the time where a movie can transition you or give you such a good idea. Like, it's cool when you go to the movies. When that movie came out, I think it was 2009, and it was really cool to go to the movies, watch a movie like that, go in, and you're basically grinning ear to ear because you can't just wait for what's next or what's next to come for you in that movie. And that was one that did it for me for sure. And getting out of the movie theater after you've watched such said movie, you can't stop talking about it. And you only have a few of those in your life, and I think Zombieland was one of those for me.
Have you seen Zombieland 2?
I have. I
I have
actually
not.
have. I didn't care for it nearly as much. I think they waited too long for the movie to come out. So I don't think the
Lost
script
some
was
of the
strong.
hype.
Yeah, lost the hype for sure. I don't think the script was strong. Not saying I don't enjoy the movie. It's really good. New actors, new faces in it.
It's like
Really cool.
Anchorman 2.
Yeah, basically, dude. Yeah, exactly. Exactly like Anchorman 2. So I just, I'm not saying I wouldn't watch it again. I'm just saying that I definitely watched the first one over the second one every day. And
Right,
that's the
yeah.
same with Anchorman. Going into that, I'd watch the first one before I watched the second one.
Yeah,
So,
a million times over, which
and
I've
that's
done.
not for
So
right, and that's not for all sequels. I actually have another sequel coming up that's like that, which is Coming to America. I've been waiting for that, and they got a sequel called Coming to America, which I don't fucking know. Anyways, um,
which,
I,
it's
I'm looking forward to it. The only downfall is, if I'm not mistaken, it was John Landis that directed the first one, and he's a great director. I don't think he's with us anymore,
okay.
so he's not doing this one. Not only that, the first one had a rated R rating. This one has a PG-13. That's a big deal as well, just because like I don't think it's going to have that natural funny in it, the way that like Eddie Murphy and ours. How do you say his
Arsenio
fucking
Hall.
Yes, thank you. I didn't want to butcher it, but yes, that's where their comedic shines because they're not filtered nearly as much as they're
Right.
going to be filtered in a PG-13 film. So that sucks, but I'm still looking forward to it as well. So we'll see. That's just like them talking about doing a Beverly Hills Cop. Another one of those. I'm about it, but it's like if you do it right, like make sure you do. Like
Yeah.
make sure you don't fuck that up.
Yeah, don't fuck that up.
Those are my movies. I love those. But yeah, going on to the next comedy that is very fucking good is This Is the End. Now, do you remember this
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
I bro, I love this fucking movie so much. How about you?
Yeah. Um it was really fun seeing all of those people play themselves, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like play,
Over
a
exaggerated?
characterized version of themselves, but or a caricature of themselves. But I'm sure on their end that was also a lot of fun to film.
Oh, for sure.
Because you're
Hanging out with
just
your friends.
yeah, hanging
Your
out with your
actor buddy
friends and
friends.
just you're you're just ripping on each other. It's
Creating a story, creating a
yeah.
fucking story. Like, why not? Like, I think about it now. Like, why not do that again? Why not bring that back to us? You know what I mean?
Well, they're in heaven now, so
Well, yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. Just
listening
another
to the
story.
Backstreet Boys.
Street Boys, exactly.
No,
I'm
but
not mad at it.
it's so much fun, and it's great because like there's a lot of things that movie covers that a lot of others don't, like just because of the fact that they tried to make it feel real, like it was like an actual you know real people instead of like acting like
Hmm.
you know what I mean, like And so like the scene with like Danny McBride like making breakfast and like using all the
For
food.
everybody has no idea the apocalypse is going on.
Yeah.
I
Um,
love that part because he's sitting there. If I'm not
and then you
mistaken,
got
he's sitting there
breakfast.
like, well, just the start of him like coming into that movie. I remember him just laying in the tub and he was blowing out smoke joint rings, and then Cypress Hill plays like one of
Yeah.
the dopest fucking Cypress Hill songs, and he comes out
He takes a
and like
piss and wipes the toilet off with his
with
boot.
his boot, like fucking goofy as shit. It's just I don't know, man. That movie is magic in
It
every way,
is,
shape,
yeah.
or form. I mean, like even when Jonah gets fucking what do you call it, possessed by a demon. He's like,
Yeah.
"What are you gonna do? You gonna exercise me, Jay?"
The whole
Like,
movie is good, and like every scene was just so funny. Like Aziz Ansari
oh,
is
him
like
and Paul
holding
Rudd.
on.
Yeah, dude. It's
God,
just
it's so good. It's like satirical and funny, and also like plays on like well, what would you do if it was the end of the world? And then I love towards the end when they come across Danny McBride and he's got like the little
he's got fucking Channing Tatum as a dog.
yes, and
Yeah,
it's like a Mad Max esque like world that he created,
hey, he's living all right.
Yeah.
They all going to heaven, and he's living down with fucking Channing Tatum. What's up, guys? He
Yeah.
just fucking pulls his mask off. It's like a fool.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
It was. It's such a good movie, and even fun fact for this movie. So it comes to my attention, and like as we were talking, I remember that me and you actually watched that together. I'm pretty sure when it came out,
Yeah.
and when we watched it, me and you actually made a painting, like how they did Rogan and Franco
Oh, yeah, yeah.
in the party. I still have that shit, and I think
Nice.
we made that in 2013. So that's like so that movie 7, 8, 9 fucking years. Like that's
Probably,
fucking
yeah.
yeah, fucking crazy.
So
Eight,
good.
9 years, something like that. So I can't do math.
A lot of
Basic
people
math.
like I don't know. A lot of people shit on their comedy style, but I
Oh,
think
well, then
I
it's
think
just
in
not your
general
era
that
then.
yeah, I think that
Yeah, it's
movie
just not
was
your
like
era.
the peak of, you know,
I
their
think
like
I
comedy
think they put a
styles.
brand of comedy on there, like improv in a sense. They added so it wasn't just that movie. I think it starts all the way back up to like 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up,
It does, yeah.
fucking
Judd Apatow and like uh,
and all the actors, Seth
Freaks
Rogen,
and
Paul
Geeks.
Rudd, Ronnie Malauco, fucking oh man, Steve Carell, even Steve, yeah, fuck the man of ad libs, fucking Steve Carell, dude. Like, yeah. So, like, with that being said, like, I think that sparked an entire generation of new comedy, of
Yeah.
ad lib comedy. And I think that's transitioned into different films. I think we lived in a generation where we saw comedy transform in movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is like you see a lot of comedies these days and like they're trying to play off of that but be their
Some
own,
butcher it.
and they suck at it. They
Mm-hmm.
cannot. And I honestly think comedies are not really a thing anymore
I
because
have to say, the last original comedy that I watched, one that was actually well written, that I gave a fuck about. And I want to say this now, but I could regret what I'm saying. But like the most original comedy that I've watched that was obscure, that was amazing and original, was Hot Rod.
but that's
Hot
back in
Rod.
that heyday era too.
But I understand. I feel like that was its own original style, though. You know what I mean?
Kind of. I
That's
really
what I'm
was thinking
saying.
about that movie as well, and I think it's also I think it falls into that same genre, the
Right,
same
for
style.
sure.
Like,
For sure. I guess but like, I don't know. It just has its own twist. It really
yeah,
does.
yeah.
Because, like, that's another one. It can't be duplicated, it can't be remade. Somebody's not going to be able
None
to
of
remake that
those.
movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I don't know. And that's the same with This Is the End. There's not going to be a remake. I'd enjoy a sequel. A
Right.
sequel would be cool. Or like I said, another spin-off movie they just do all together, something like that. I don't know. But This Is the End. Great fucking movie. Um, Last one I have on my list is one of the most fucked up apocalyptic movies I've ever seen. I think it's probably on Jake's list as well. We watched this together, and it was a twist of fuckery. But
Twist of fuckery.
it was. It's called The Divide. It had an ensemble cast on it. I don't remember nearly half the people. I haven't watched it since I think the first time that we watched it together.
One and only. That's all you need. One and done.
One and done. And there's a lot of movies like that, but this one was particularly like that because what's seen in that movie is like disturbing. And for example, I brought it up to Jake today and he completely forgot about it. But then I brought a scene into his fucking head and like the way that his face, transformed from the eyebrows raised and all that, like you knew that I brought that memory back into his memory banks. And it's just one fucked up movie.
Yeah.
And I can't really remember much. There was a landlord in this, apartment in this city, and he had this bunker. And so he tried to save some people. He was a prick, and he did some shady shit. So people decided to do or plot against him, if you will, which they did. And they locked this dude up. And from there, it only gets fucking worse.
So
It
context. A something happened, and
like a bomb went off or some shit.
yeah, and they're locked in the basement of this building where the landlord lives, and outside, there's like tunnels of like hazmat shit going on of like people out there, but they don't know that they're inside of this building or whatever. And yeah, so all the people, pretty much everyone who's in gets locked in that basement is like people who live in that building together.
Yeah, for the
But
most part. I think there like from the beginning, I think there's people that might have ran into the building. I don't know. So like I think it's irrelevant if they lived there or not, but I think some of them did because there was a part of that storyline that they gave in. But with
yeah,
that being said,
the main thing about the movie is playing on the like psychology of like what you would do in a scenario of where you were locked in
or
a
I say
basement with
what the
strangers.
worst of people would do. In that
Yeah,
movie,
the
what's
psychology
the
behind like
yeah. Okay. But yeah, it's one fucked up movie. I don't want to get involved in how like grotesque it gets, but it gets pretty fucking bad. So if you want to see it, definitely watch it yourself. But let's go into the fucking rating game of these movies. So first one we talked about was I Am Legend. I am going to give that one a 8.5 out of 10. How about you, man?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10? Okay.
Yep.
I think the 1.5 takes away from me and that fucking dog getting choked out to death. That fucked me up. I don't like seeing
Word.
animals get killed in any kind of way. So that's just my heart in a sense. But other than that, great movie, well fucking written, just casted well. Ruined Bob Marley's song "Three Little Birds" for Jake. So, but yeah, going on to the next movie, The Matrix. Jake said earlier, 10 out of 10. We know what
10 out
his
of 10.
is. Mine is a 10 out of 10 as well. I love that movie. It is fucking gold.
Yep. It is, if not my favorite, in my top 3 favorites of all time.
It's in my top 10. I don't know if it's top three. I'd have to go through my whole fucking, life of movies. But
Thousands of movies. Yeah.
yes. All right. So Terminator. We really didn't decide on which Terminator we're going to talk about or which one we did. I know I talked
T2.
mainly about T2, so I'm giving that one a 8 out of 10.
I would give that a 6 out of 10.
Okay. Fair enough.
Um, I don't remember a whole lot about it. Um, I do remember a lot of it being pretty cheesy,
Okay.
which just lends to the time that the movie was made. So, um, and The whole story itself is very but the action and the way it was made is good. So
It's James Cameron, dude.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's fucking James Cameron. Made Avatar, bro. All right, Castaway for the next movie. I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10.
I was gonna say same 9 out of 10. The
I
only
don't think
reason
that
because I don't know.
you don't know.
Um, it's not like one that I am in love with or I love and would watch it a bunch, but I've seen it once or twice and I think it's phenomenal. So
Right,
doesn't
for
have
sure.
I don't feel like it doesn't have much replay value. Or like the Matrix
Okay.
I can watch a bunch, or like Jurassic Park I can watch a bunch of
See,
times.
when
But
you
like
say that now, I really need to alter my rating system. Thinking about that, I'm gonna have to look into like put some more in-depth thought into our rating system so I can think, have an actual fucking decent rating. It's not like my ratings are half-assed. It's just I'm not thinking with that kind of like initial thought. You know what I mean?
right, yeah.
But yeah, the replay value on Castaway, it's there for me. I'd watch it quite a bit. I'm not saying like it's a repeated one like The Matrix. I watch The Matrix all goddamn day.
Right.
But with Castaway, I do enjoy it very much. I think when I give it a 9.0 out of 10, I kind of want to remove my number now and probably go to about a 7 out of 10 just because it doesn't really like have that like I don't know. It's not going to have the same effect on everybody watching such a film. Some people are going to get bored just because there's minimal to no dialogue and it might not be their cup of tea. So, but for my initial rating, it really does. It has the replay value, but it doesn't nearly have it just like the Matrix as we were talking about. So, yeah, I'd say if yeah,
All right.
7 out of 10. Is that what I said?
7. I think yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. So
All right.
I changed
7
it
out of
up a little
10.
bit. 7 out of 10. All right, going on to the next one, the Book of Eli. I would give this one probably a 6 out of 10. The replay value holds up, but I think they could have done a little bit better with the writing in the beginning of the film. I think there's a lot they could have worked or done better or did worked on, if you will, like from the action sequences and kind of like the evolving state of the character. I would have liked to have liked a little bit. I would have liked to have known a little bit more about Denzel's character in that movie. We don't get nearly enough background story. So
Right. Yeah.
I would like to see a little bit more and I would have liked to have seen more background story on him. So
I would give that an 8 out of 10.
okay.
Um the story is phenomenal. The concept is one of the best concepts I've ever seen. Soundtrack, everything played out in it, awesome. It was great. Um, having having the world and backstories a little more fleshed out would have been great, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, solid 8 still.
All right. Fair enough. Going into our comedies, Zombieland. I would give Zombieland. I'll give Zombieland about a 8.5 out of 10. The replay value holds the fuck up. Like
Yeah,
I said, when they break that fourth wall, it's something that's rarely duplicated. And with that being said, when it does happen, you have to either be comedy gold at it or it's going to be shit. And they did it extremely well. If anything, I could have enjoyed a little bit of a longer movie, more background story towards the girls. I don't remember really too much. I know they talked a lot about Columbus and they talked about a lot about Tallahassee, but we didn't get too much on them. I think we got more of their story in Zombieland 2. I would have well, shit. As I'm saying that, I'm starting to remember a little bit of their backstory that comes into play in that. But that's when they were stealing money from men at gas stations over fake ass rings. That's right. So, okay, I rephrased my statement on the girls, but I think if anything, I could have enjoyed a longer movie. I think if worst came to absolute worst, I would have enjoyed a little bit more of a movie just because it's like the experience was so fucking good. I didn't want it to end. So 8.5 out of 10.
All right. I will give this one a 8 out of 10 as well.
What was that, Mr. Hurley?
Eight, 8 out of 10. Um,
Okay.
I've seen it probably like 4 or 5 times. It's great every time.
Right.
Very creative, fresh, and unique. Up until
Holds
that
up
point,
still.
there wasn't,
Hmm.
and I still don't think there's many movies that have that style to them. Um, it was fun, but also, you know, um, slightly boring at times. And I think that's the reason why the big draw away for me was that there's parts in the movie that just kind of seem
You
like
might whip out your
fluff.
cell phone. You might whip
You
out
know
your
what I
cell
mean?
phone and
Yeah, just
check the
seem like
time type shit.
fluff, and they
Hmm.
don't really add a whole lot to it.
Did you just fluff a movie?
I
Like
said fluff.
isn't that what like a porn star does to get ready for a show? A fluffer? They start working the dude's dick before he gets into the fucking scene.
Fluff is just
I'm
it's
pretty
a
sure.
very common term used in way more things.
I'm just letting you know. I think that there's also a fluffer for a fucking porn star. I'm
All
just
right,
saying, man.
all right. I don't know that much about porn. So.
Oh man.
Fluff is used very commonly to refer to things that are essentially just filler. Like you write a
Well,
fluff piece is just like a
somebody's
fluff.
fluffing homeboy to fill him up to somebody else. You know what I mean?
Whatever. What the fuck?
Uh,
Uh,
anyways,
yeah, eight out
next
of ten.
movie.
Zombieland. Come on,
Yes,
this is
next
the end.
movie. I'll give that probably a solid 9 out of 10. That
Yeah.
was a great movie. There's nothing really I could say that was wrong with that movie. There was no point of being bored. Oh, man, just well written all around. Actually, rebuttal that. It's a 10 out of 10. Probably just it's a great movie. It's a great fucking movie. There's nothing wrong with that movie.
All right. Um, I'll give that an 8 as well. A lot of eights today from me, but
Yeah.
um, phenomenal, great. Comedy all around. Everything is funny. The fresh spin of all of the actors essentially playing themselves,
Refreshing.
phenomenal.
Hmm.
The writing is also great. Um, there's a few parts that are kind of like um not as funny as I think they thought they were gonna be. Just because of it being like I don't know, like attention grabbing comedy or like
Hmm.
dick and fart joke type comedy, which I'm not denouncing that, but I am saying
Dick
sometimes
and
that
fart jokes always like they're never gonna stop being funny. Like a
well
fart joke is
sometimes they're not.
really.
Yeah, sometimes there's parts that just aren't. You know, you're just like,
You're saying like when somebody sets up for said fart joke and it just doesn't deliver. Is that what you're basically
yes, yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Okay, because like
And
I was gonna say like fart jokes always deliver, but then it's like if you have an initially a bad setup for a fart joke or a dick and fart joke, then yeah, it's not gonna work.
I guess so.
Sometimes it just doesn't hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's just a few moments in that movie that are like, that was kind of a miss, but that's okay.
Okay, that's fair.
So,
It's like it's okay because I'm sure there will be something that'll make me cackle here in a
right.
couple minutes. Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. And the divide. I'm going to give that fucking movie probably a 0 out of 10. I have no love for that movie. I don't like it. It transcends from like okay to bad to terrible to extremely fucked up. So it's not, and like I like fucked up movies. It's not like I don't enjoy fucked up movies. I really do. I probably have a couple on the shelf. Um, but when it comes to like that movie, No. 0 out of 10. Completely fucked up, really stupid, poorly written. Not my cup of tea.
I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10.
Wow. Okay.
Um, Mainly because of the idea of capturing more like the main thing being about the psychology of being trapped with people, right?
Okay.
Like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of a lot of movies like kind of play on that, but not like focus on it. This movie
Mm-hmm.
focused on,
The psychology of people.
and I thought that was cool. But
Okay.
the acting was the writing for all the dialogue was also
No
um
memorable shit.
and I think some of the s- s- events that unfold were more so for shock value than actual like um worthy content. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's fair. Well, I appreciate you at least giving it that and seeing it in that aspect and light because, like, I think about it now, and that does make sense. Like, they wanted to show you how people could mentally break down in the worst fucking possible way, and they did
and
that.
kind of push
They
it.
did that. Yeah, and they did that 100%, and applaud them in that. But in a sense of a movie, no, it's not a good movie at all. It's really
Right,
not.
right, right.
It's not. But
Not
like
a
the
good movie,
psychology, yeah,
but
it
like
will fuck you up. It will fuck you up to watch that movie, and how it will make you think of how people might act if we had some kind of crisis happen.
right.
Like, and so I get that, but still, yeah, respectfully, not even, yeah, 0 out of 10, and yours is a 5 out of 10. So that is the post-apocalyptic and the survival movies we could think of or that we wanted to bring. I know there are honorable mentions. There's plenty. Let us know them.
Yeah,
You know,
shout them out to us. Hit us up.
so
We'll obviously have a post on our Facebook once this episode is out for you guys to hear. So go on there and tell us some of your favorite survival or post-apocalyptic movies slash games.
right,
Um, and yeah, we'll talk about it.
most definitely. Now, going into the creme de la creme of this podcast today, two questions. Very simple. Okay. First one, three items. You can bring them with you. You're on a deserted island. You're fucked. Life's hard, but you got three goddamn items. What are you going to take? Jacob, we will start with you, sir.
Um, an axe.
Okay.
Um, a nice long sturdy rope
Okay.
and a stainless steel thermos.
Okay. I like that.
So the axe, pretty obvious. You know
Chopping
you're
shit.
gonna need wood, so you're gonna have to chop
Mm-hmm.
some trees down. But also an axe, um, you can you can take the head off and you can hold it in your hand and use it as a knife or to use it like a butcher's knife to chop meat or like bones if you need to or like you know
Bones. What kind of bones you getting into, brother? You going to kill somebody? Are you talking
I
about like
mean
fish bones?
or animal bones, whatever's on the island.
That's true. Okay. Fair enough.
I'm gonna
Thought you were
use
getting
those
grim with that
bones.
shit. I thought you was going to eat somebody.
I'm gonna use those bones to make tools and weapons out of.
Okay.
The rope um, would be utilized for different things. I could, for instance, like use it to raise or lower something if I'm trying to build a shelter, um, or hold, a log or a big piece of wood in place while I do something, or like could be used to make like a ladder to climb a tree, or like a grappling hook to be able to climb up a tree, or there's infinite uses really for a rope.
Of
But
said rope. Right.
um
I got you.
And then the stainless steel thermos is actually very important. So it you can store water in it. It'll stay cold in there, right? It's a thermos, right? Um, it can take a nice beating. It's very sturdy.
Can take a
Um,
nice beating.
but you can also hold it over fire because it's stainless steel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you
In case you
can,
need to heat something up.
in case you need to boil some water and shit.
Okay, then. I see you.
You know what I mean? You can boil water. You can cook in it if you really want
Essentially,
to.
yeah.
Um,
It's not like you're gonna have SpaghettiOs to cook in the thermos or nothing, but
right, but
you know, I
you could
got you.
heat it over a fire enough to like
Warm
cook.
something up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, I fuck
So
with you on those. Those are pretty logical. Some of those I didn't even think about, but like the ones that I have. So first one I have is a flint starter. I figured, I take a rock, I have flint, I'll be able to
yeah, yeah.
always have a fire. There will never, I'll always have a fire. I'll be 100 there. So I'll always stay warm, which is a very, you know, concerning issue when you're on the island. The other thing I would take is a giant tarp. So my plan with
Ooh.
this giant tarp is one to have, protection from the sun, and then not only that to collect rainwater. I figured I can collect rainwater. I'll drink. I'll get coconuts, spark a hole with like what I was thinking was is I was gonna get rocks and I was gonna have stones and I'd make a stone sharp enough with other rocks, and so that would help me pierce the coconut. So I drink the coconut juice and then I'll be able to collect rainwater through those coconuts, and I keep that. And then like I said, it would also keep me shelter. And then my other thing, which I'm kind of thinking about this now, but I'm also not, is like a Swiss Army knife, but like a Swiss Army knife on steroids. Okay, a very extremely like expensive, durable, sharp, fucking like Swiss Army knife.
With like different tools and stuff built in, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, but like not Swiss Army style, like fucking roided out
Yeah,
Swiss
yeah.
Army style. So I figured I could have that, and I would be able to survive on all three of those things because I'd be able to sharpen spears, so I could kill fish, you know, or whatever comes my way. I would be able to make more shelter around said tarp. I thought about like with like okay, so if you think of like a piece of wood on an island, if you find one, you could strip the what
Bark.
is it called, the bark off of them, and you could make rope, and they're really fucking durable. So I would do that and make protection. You'd have to have a lot, you know what I mean, but like it could become very durable. So I think we would
I love
both.
the tarp idea though.
Thank you. I love the I love both of ours because it's like if we had all six items, we'd be Gucci.
Oh, we're fine, bro. We're
Like we're
set.
fine,
If we ran
right?
into each other on the same island, like, oh, you're
Like bro,
stuck here too, bro.
like fuck it.
Let's
You
fucking
got these
build an
three items. I got these
empire,
three.
bro. This is our island now, bro.
That'd be gangster as fuck. Be
um,
gangster.
so
Now,
actually, that kind of plays into the question I wanted to ask about being stranded on an island.
okay.
Um, would your goal be to get off the island or start a new life on the island?
It really depends. You can't really start a life by yourself. Like if it's really just
I
you know
mean,
what I
you
mean?
could,
You can, but like
yourself until you die, but
right, but I feel like you're also going to go crazy. I feel just seeing the constant like wall of the island will fuck you up mentally. So, in a term, like no, I wouldn't want to. But also, like if it was where I could settle down with a wife and we have a kid, and like I don't know, man, it's just where I wouldn't be like lonely. I would have a family, and I build a life on this said island, and I have like this beautiful home that I built with my own fucking hands and all
this is
this
a
shit.
survival instance where you are stranded on an island.
Okay, we're not over exaggerating it. Gotcha. All right. You know what? I would probably stay on the island. The reason because it's like I'm already mildly fucking crazy as it is, and I'm in this world. So it's like me by myself, taking care of myself, protecting myself, and evolving by myself on an island. I think that would be amazing because I wouldn't have technology in my fucking face. And I think that would be a wonderful life experience and a wonderful life. Honestly, I do. I'd live on a fucking island drinking coconut juice and rainwater the rest of my days and eating fucking open fish out of a
Yeah.
fucking ocean. So
I think my answer would be the same, mainly for the reason that your your chance of survival of staying on the island is way higher than if you were just to build a boat and set out in the ocean to try to get rescued.
100%. Tides could
You
fucking
you
destroy
have
your
no, you
shit.
don't have anything. At least on the island, you have the ability to like make a shelter and maybe get food.
Right.
But you
Like,
know,
so you have a higher chance of surviving. There's just such a
abs-
higher chance.
yeah. So I would just stay on the island and try to make a life there until the off chance or hopefully somebody come by,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
discover.
honestly, I'd probably always have that like big ass help sign I made on the beach. You know what
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, but it's like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work out,
Yep.
because I feel like it'd be that castaway bullshit. You know what I mean? Like you'd end up laying on the floor because your body's used to a fucking flat surface for so many years. A comfortable bed is not going to work for you. You
Yep.
know, you'd be a totally different breed of a person. Getting picked up after fucking, I don't know, a decade or 2 decades, of living on an island.
Yeah.
Gosh. But, well, shit, that is the episode, guys. Um, Much love to you guys. Appreciate you. Last thing I would like to say before I'm out of here, because last week we decided to start a fun facts at the end of it all with me.
Oh.
Yes. So I have a fun fact for today, and I'm a little bit more prepared. So I'm proud of this one. So the fun fact is the wood frog can hold its pee for up to 8 months. And if let me say that again. The wood frog can hold its pee for up to 8 months. And so to bring that into perspective, the wood frog is native to Alaska, and holding their urine up to 8 months is kind of normal through regions of the tough long winters before they finally take a piss. The fucking winters are harsh, and what happens is the urine actually keeps them alive while it hibernates, because with the special microbes in their gut that recycles urea, I believe is how it's pronounced, which is the urine's main waste, it turns it into nitrogen. So it's actually a good thing that they hold that urine for so long. But it's like you got to think
What
of
the
how
fuck,
long,
man?
right? You got to think of how long that piss is, though. You know what I mean?
Bro,
After eight fucking
it's
months,
like when you're at the bar and you're like, oh, I gotta go take a pee, and you go in there and there's some guy who's like leaned up against the pisser, and he's just
takes at
standing
least
there,
4 minutes, and he's just still pissing.
shh, and you're like, God damn, bro, what?
Like, what the fuck? How long did you hold your piss?
I wish I had that ability because I've had to pee for the last like half hour of this, so I'd be like, oh well, I got
Oh, let me hibernate. A second.
I got 8 months
Well,
left.
well, guys, it's been much love. Please search us on our platforms. We have a link tree on all of our social media platforms.
Yes,
Also, I think it's on our YouTube, or probably not. I'm not sure. I don't think so. But you can find our YouTube on our link tree on
yep.
Facebook and on Instagram. Please find us, comment, throw us some love.
And
Episode 19
answer
is
these
in here.
questions yourself. What 3 items would you bring if you were stuck on a stranded island? And what would your goal be? Would you want to get off or would you make a new life? Also, throw out those video games, those movies, all that stuff that you like that are survival and post apocalyptic, and we'll chat. We'll chat about it.
Most definitely. Well, much love to you guys. Appreciate you.
We'll see you next time. Peace.